Good morning, comic book fans. It's Rusty again with Collector Auctions, and I'm in the car again, headed to Third Eye Comics in Annapolis, Maryland for a comic book signing. Phillip Kennedy Johnson is going to be there, and if you guys don't know him, he's written a lot of stuff for Marvel and DC and some independent titles. He has been doing the current run on the Incredible Hulk. I'm not sure if he's still on it or not. I know he's been doing it for the last year since they relaunched the Incredible Hulk. He's done a ton of stuff for DC as well. He did when Aliens was acquired by Disney and Marvel was putting out the first Alien books. He was a writer on that. I've got one of those, the first issue of that. I'm going to have him sign today. And his newest book is Crocodile Black, and it just came out here on the last New Comic Book Day. So that's what this is. This is a signing with him for the launch of this new book at Third Eye Comics. So it's kind of cool. It's really cool to get some of these creators in at Third Eye when they literally have their new book just hit the stands. So that's going to be kind of cool. So this is one of the signing events that Third Eye Comics puts on all the time. I come to most of these, and most of the time they're on Saturday mornings starting at about 11 o'clock. And I've talked about this before, that I still work on Saturdays. I need to be into the office by 2 o'clock, and generally, if they didn't offer, Third Eye didn't offer a VIP package to get in early, normally I couldn't do these signings because I'd be running too late and running the risk of getting into work late. So normally I would buy these VIP packages that they offer, and even though the signing is free to the general public, the VIP gets you into the line first. It generally gets you to be able to sign more books as well. But the important thing for me is you get into the line in the first group that goes through, and I can usually get in and out of there within the first hour and get to work on time. Well, I've also talked in some of my previous videos that I joined a club with Third Eye Comics, an exclusive club of 300 members called the Wednesday Warrior Elite. And part of that benefit, in fact, the main benefit for me, was it gives you a lifetime access to all of these signing events as a VIP. So I don't have to pay for these packages anymore. I just need to let them know 10 days in advance that I'm going to be attending this, and they put me on the list. And for a signing like this, generally I probably wouldn't come down because I don't have a lot of stuff actually to get signed. It's one of those I could wait to see him at a comic book con like Baltimore or Heroes Con or something like that, and when I'm going to be actually devoting time to go to that convention. But because I belong to this club, this gives me this incentive. I've already got that access. I can come down here, get in the VIP line, and know that I'll be okay, and I'll be able to get in and out pretty easily. So that's what we're doing today. We're heading down. We're going to get a few books signed. I've got my 50 Years of Marvel book that I'm going to add him to that collection, and that's about it. So stay tuned. I will take some footage from Third Eye, and then I'll come back and I'll show off everything that I got signed today. So stay tuned, and I'll be right back. All right, guys, I just finished up at Third Eye Comics here in Annapolis, Maryland. I'm headed home. Had a great time at the signing with Phillip Kennedy Johnson. I realized that I'd actually got him to sign some things a couple years ago. I'm not sure if it was at Heroes Con or Baltimore Comic Con, but I brought with me today the 5 Decades of Marvel book. It's a hardbound book. I've been working on that book since 1993, and I add every Marvel artist, creator I can in there, and it's getting filled up. And it took me a while to go through it, but I ended up realizing that, in fact, I have found it that he had signed this book a couple years ago. So luckily, I could go dump the book in the car and get back in line, because that's a heavy book. And so I enjoyed not having to carry that any longer than I had to today. But I ended up going in, got a lot of things signed, including his new book, Crocodile Black, that had just come out this last New Comic Book Day. And I've read that really quickly. I'm going to be interested to see where the story goes on that. But I did get some other things signed, and luckily they still had some of his first issues of the Incredible Hulk run that he's working on. It was still in the stand, so I was able to pick those up before I got to meet him again today. So I got those signed as well. So I'm going to go home. I'm going to bag and board everything. We'll do a quick show and tell, and I'll show off everything I got today. But great time today. It was nice being part of that Wednesday Warrior Elite group that got to go in first as part of the VIP group. I was about fourth back in line, and that's nice. The benefit for me is I don't have to pay for these VIP packages anymore, and with the early access, I can get in and get out in time to be able to go to work. And that's what I'm going to do is once I get home and do the rest of the show right here, I've got enough time then to go to work. So benefits already. So I was very excited about that, and I'm going to look forward to, in a couple weeks, Scott Snyder is going to be here, and we're going to do the exact same thing. I will probably have to show up a little bit earlier because I'm sure the VIP line for him will be enormous. Today there was a very small crowd, but for Scott Snyder, I expect an enormous crowd. But guys, check out Crocodile Black. Hope you enjoy it, and stay tuned. I will be right back, and we'll do a nice little show and tell.
5 minutes later.
All right, everybody, I made it back home. I bagged and boarded all the comics, and now we can do a little bit of a show and tell. I did have a great time at Third Eye Comics meeting Phillip and Kennedy Johnson for at least the second time. And as I said on the ride back home, one of the things that I was going to get signed was the 5 Decades of Marvel hardbound book. It's a coffee table book that I've been getting signed since 93, 94. And I've been adding just tons and tons of Marvel creators over the years. And I didn't recall because it was such a quick autograph moment a couple years ago, probably at Baltimore or Heroes Con, I cannot remember which. I did get Phillip Kennedy Johnson to sign the book. Let me show it to you right here. It's on the page right there, and book's really heavy, but you can see Dave Gibbons' big autograph up there, but right above my fingers, right up there, guys. A little hard to see. If you're really good and want to figure it out, you can look on the video, but there was Phillip Kennedy Johnson's autograph. Sorry about that. That book is really heavy, and the spine is starting to give a little bit, so I'm trying to be a little bit careful when I present it like this. When I go to shows, I can control the situation, but right here with this setup, it's really hard. So I didn't have to get that book signed. I did bring some other things to get signed, including his new comic that just came out this week, a New Comic Book Day, which was Crocodile Black. And I had got a chance to kind of skim through, read fast before I went to this. It seems interesting. We'll see where that story goes. Just because of getting to meet him at the store like this, I will probably keep this comic up for a few issues to see if I continue liking it and everything. But it was really great to get to talk to him for a few moments and everything. Let me show you what I got signed. So, like I said, I've got the first issue of Crocodile Black signed. That was the one that I picked up on New Comic Book Day. But being part of the VIP package and this Wednesday Warrior Elite thing and getting in on the VIP line and everything also meant that you got a free comic book to get signed. They gave you, so I got an additional copy of that. So I got both of those signed. And while I was at the table, they had other variant covers, and I was going to get there's a same illustration here. It's a little bit different trade dress, but it was more of an exclusive, more of a ratio. And honestly, I didn't care for it anymore after seeing this one. They had a Virgin variant that was a little bit less expensive, actually. And I thought that red cover, that was pretty cool looking. And I figured that would look really neat. I kind of wish he had signed that in silver. That would have popped off of there. It's one of those, I may have to pick up another copy of that, and if I see him at a future con, just to get him to sign it in silver, that would be pretty cool. So those were the issues of Crocodile Black that got signed. Now, I also brought along with me one other issue that I had on hand. I couldn't find a lot of other stuff quickly on hand for this signing. Again, I only found out about this signing after I had went to New Comic Book Day. I really didn't even know the signing was happening, and I Third Eye usually does a really good job of promoting their upcoming signings. They got Scott Snyder. They've been advertising the heck out of that for about a month. And I didn't hear one word about Phillip Kennedy Johnson. In fact, I went back on social media after I kind of did find out about it, and I still couldn't find anything about him there. But I did bring this. This was Aliens #1 when Disney acquired the rights through Alien. They started publishing this, and this was the first issue. I think this was the regular cover. Unfortunately, I couldn't find, there was a really cool, and I think it was the second issue. There was one of those negative space covers with Newt, I think on there, Newt and the alien in yellow, I seem to recall. And I kind of wish I could be able to find that. I couldn't put my hands on it quick enough. I still haven't found it. And I'll have to dig through that and maybe try to get that signed. That was the one I was trying to really look for. This one right here was one I had pulled it aside when it came out. I had actually sent it into CGC for a 9.8 pre-screen, and it was a failure. And I never resubmitted it. And at this point, I'm kind of glad I did. These books like this, they're really hot at that moment, but over time have lost their value. It probably wouldn't be worth getting graded at this point. But you know what? It's great to get signed. And that looked really good. Look at that silver ink up there. That just looks fantastic. And so those are the only two books I originally brought to the signing. I was going to get those two books, and then I was going to get the Marvel book signed. Well, like I said, the Marvel book was already signed. So I got these two books signed, the additional Crocodile Dundee. And then they had some other things on the table, like this new issue of the Giant Size Hulk #1. And, of course, Phillip Kennedy Johnson's been doing the Incredible Hulk run, and he's got, I don't know how much of the story or if the whole story in here is his as well, but I picked this up mostly because you got this Brian Hitch cover. I think Brian Hitch is he doing all the covers to the Giant Size 40th anniversary of all of those issues? Or is it 50th? I'm sorry, yeah, 50th. How long ago was that? 50th anniversary of the Giant Size Marvel books. But unfortunately, Fan Expo was a week prior, and I couldn't take this to get signed by Brian Hitch. It's a little hard to, yeah, this one I wish he had signed in silver as well. It's a very busy cover, but his signature is right up here on the side. That's a book I'll have to save it for Brian Hitch. This is not a book I would have initially taken to Brian Hitch to get signed, but now that I've got a signature from somebody else, this is a book that will have to go in the Brian Hitch file. So those were the only things I picked up the table, and I got signed and took the photo with him and everything, and I thought I was done. Well, I was perusing the store, putting my comics back up, and I look up, and I'm standing right in front of all the new comic wall there at Third Eye, and I'm right in front of the H section, and there is the Incredible Hulk run that he's been writing. And I see all the recent issues, and I just said, well, let's thumb through that and see if there's anything interesting covers or anything. There wasn't a big line. I thought maybe I'll just get back in line or something. And I'm thumbing through it, and sure enough, there were still issue ones in there, even though I think we're up to, issue 12, 13, 14, something like that. A year ago, there was still one copy of issue #1 in there. So I picked this up to get signed. I took this back, and you can see his signature right there. That actually pops pretty good. They did have some variant covers I picked up as well. This was a Stormbreakers Jan Bazaldua cover. Never heard of her, but I picked that up, and then I picked up a second printing of issue #1 to get signed as well. I thought that's a really cool cover. I haven't, to be honest with you, I didn't really read this. I had dropped the title. I had an issue 1, just because buying issue 1 is a no-brainer most of the time, especially with a character like the Hulk. But a lot of times I'm not sure, but my guess is that this image right here is actually an image from the interior of the book. Seems like the last few years you've seen Marvel do that in second printings, a really cool splash page with the character or a debut. I remember they did that with Elektra as Daredevil. They turned that image into a cover. That was actually a really nice cover, actually. But I bet you that's on the interior there. So I picked those up, went back in line, and got him to sign it. And yeah, that was pretty cool. like I said, it wasn't a long line, so I didn't have to wait long the second time. Now, if the line had been really long, I would have never done that. And then the only other thing that I ended up getting was this right here. Being part of, well, it didn't even matter if it would be part of the VIP line or not, but being one of the first 10 people there also got you an additional comic book to get signed if you wanted to. And they gave me this, Superman War World Apocalypse #1. And of course, he is the writer on this, or at least one of the stories in there as well. So, and that really pops as well. So that was everything I got signed by Phillip Kennedy Johnson. Again, great time. Had a great time there at Third Eye. If you guys haven't ever checked them out, just follow them on the website. I'll leave a link down below. You can follow them and you can see all the signings that they do. Again, they've got Scott Snyder showing up here in just a couple weeks. And so I'm trying to get stuff prepared for that as well. And that's pretty much it. The only other book that I ended up picking up during this trip, since it's May here in Third Eye Comics, and hopefully this video will come out before end of May, but during May, every Saturday, as an incentive to get you in to come in, they give you a checklist right here. It's Free Comic Book May. So it's starting with Free Comic Book Day on May, it was May 4th, then the other 3 following Saturdays. When you come in, you check off each one, you get a free comic. And then if you check all 4 of these off, at the end of the month, you can get a free graphic novel. They're going to do on June 1, Free Graphic Novel Day. It's kind of an interesting ploy. So that was pretty good. So of the free comics that were right there that I picked up, I did get this. It was Robin and Batman #1 of 3. I found like I just picked it up quick. It was interesting. The art, I thought the art was really nice on that. So that was the last thing that I ended up picking up from this signing during this Saturday. So that's it, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. Quick little show today. Let me know what you think about everything by leaving me a comment in the comment section below. And that's pretty much it. And the only other thing is, if you enjoy this kind of content, definitely give me a like, slap the subscribe, and click on the notification bell so you guys don't miss out on any of the content that I put out each and every week, Mondays and Fridays at 10 a.m. All right, guys, I'm out of here. You guys have a great day, and I will see you for the next show. Just remember, every comic has a story.